I don't want to see the face of the woman who took Shuji away from me. Go away! Okay. I was mentally and physically exhausted by my mother-in-law's extreme love for her son. I'm Ayaka. I married Shuji, who works at the same company, and now I'm a full-time housewife. After graduating from college, I focused on my job and had given up on getting married by my mid-30s. But then Shuji proposed, and I became his wife, dreaming of a happy married life. But today, again. Hey, why is the door locked? Open it now! Oh, okay. I'll open it right away. Really? It's common sense to keep the door unlocked so I can come in whenever I want. Sorry, you came yesterday, so I thought you wouldn't be coming today. What? Just because I came yesterday doesn't mean I can't come today. My mother-in-law, Yoshiko, always drops by unannounced and lashes out at me if anything bothers her. This had been happening since shortly after our marriage, and her constant visits and insults were taking a toll on me. This is my dear Shuji's house. What's wrong with his mother coming by? My dear Shuji. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that. You're such a rude daughter-in-law. It's like you weren't raised properly. Whenever we meet, she belittles me and my parents, mocking us. I used to tolerate it because she's my husband's mother, but her terrible behavior was wearing me down. The reason my mother-in-law hated me so much was...
What is all this noise about? I can hear it in the living room.
Shuji, I've missed you so much. My mother-in-law's extreme love for Shuji. She sees me as the awful woman who took her beloved son away. Listen to this. She knows I might come over, but she locked the door to keep me out. And now she's making me stand here talking without offering me tea. Didn't you start yelling on your own? I was speechless, shocked at how she always made me the villain to cry to her son. If only my husband would side with me.
Sorry, Mom. Ayaka just isn't very considerate. Hey, Ayaka, don't just stand there. Go and take care of Mom.
Shuji's so kind. He's such a good boy. Why couldn't he have married a decent girl? Shuji always put his mother-in-law first and never took my side. Seeing Shuji badmouth me seemed to make her happy, and the visit would turn into a hellish time for me. I'll come by again soon. She's finally gone. After days of constant yelling from my mother-in-law, my body feels heavy. I even feel a bit nauseous. I think it's stress, but I need to rest a little today. Sorry, I'm not feeling well, so I'm going to bed early tonight.
What? What about my dinner?
There's some food I made in the fridge. Just heat it up and eat that.
Unbelievable. After all that crap from Mom, now you can't even make a proper meal because you are feeling a little sick?
Even when I'm not well, Shuji only cares about his dinner. The thought of divorce crossed my mind, but as a housewife, I don't have the financial means to make that a reality. If I just put up with this, will it all be resolved? One day, while thinking this, something happened. What? I'm pregnant! Yes. Judging by the baby's size, you're about 10 weeks along. Can you see? The baby's moving. A baby! I went to the hospital because I wasn't feeling well, but it turns out it was morning sickness. Being older, I had given up on having kids, just like with marriage. I sometimes wondered if life would be happier with children, and seeing my baby on the monitor made the reality of my pregnancy sink in. But even though I should be overjoyed, thinking about Shuji and my mother-in-law made it hard to feel happy.
You are pregnant? That's great.
Oh yeah! Shuji was more excited than I expected, and I felt a sense of relief.
I thought it was too late given my age, but I'm finally going to be a dad.
Maybe Shuji and mother-in-law will change a little once the baby's here.
Listen, we don't have an heir, so you need to make sure it's a boy.
What?
Mom is going to be so happy. Maybe she'll finally acknowledge you a little. By the way, we're going to my parents' place for the holidays, so we'll tell Mom then, okay?
Okay. Even though his words fell off, I had no idea how much worse things would get. Hey, I was hoping to spend some alone time with Shuji, so why are you here? I'm sorry. It wasn't unexpected, but when I went to my husband's family home for the holidays, my mother-in-law started berating me. But there's something important I need to tell you today. I don't want to see the face of the woman who took Shuji away. Go away. Okay.
Mom said so just go home for today. I'll tell her what you need to say.
I got it. It was clear she wouldn't listen, so I left it to Shuji to avoid making things worse with mother-in-law and headed home. A few days later, my mother-in-law burst in as usual and started saying something outrageous. You're pregnant! Get rid of it!
Get rid of it.
What? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My mind went blank. Wait a minute! Why are you saying this? Isn't it obvious? First, you took my precious Shuji and now you're pregnant. What are you thinking? I never approved of this. Unbelievable. I can't even let my guard down. Approved? What is she talking about? I looked at Shuji for support, but he always sided with his mom.
If Mom doesn't want a kid, then we have to go along with it. Just do what she says.
Wait, why do I need your mom's approval to have a baby? It's obvious. As his daughter-in-law, you should prioritize your husband's parents above all else. No way. Until now, I hadn't been able to argue back since I depended on my husband. But the thought of losing my baby to my mother-in-law's jealousy was devastating. Without my mother-in-law's approval, I can't have this baby. But there's no reason for me to stay with these two if it means losing my child. After she left, I called someone. I'm sorry for calling out of the blue, but... A few days later, my mother-in-law showed up in a good mood. So, have you decided when to have the procedure? I don't want you neglecting Shuji, so get this over with quickly. Thinking I was too shocked to respond, she kept talking without any regard for my feelings.
Mom, don't be too hard on Ayaka. Everyone makes mistakes.
Mistakes? Oh, Shuji, you're such a kind boy, defending a wife who doesn't know her place. I couldn't take their attitude anymore, treating my pregnancy like it was solely my fault. But surgery isn't cheap, you know. Don't add any more unnecessary expenses. Don't worry, I'm not giving up on this baby. What?
Hey, what are you talking about all of a sudden?
Yeah, what are you thinking? That's my line. Why should I give up our baby just because my mother-in-law says so? It's outrageous for a daughter-in-law to talk back. Just follow orders and keep quiet. If I'm not even allowed to express my opinion and just follow orders, that's no different from being a slave. You always say you want a suitable wife for Shuji, but you really just want a slave to do whatever you want, don't you? Oh, how dare you talk back like that? I'll say it again. I'm not giving up this baby. If you can't accept that, I'm considering divorcing Shuji and leaving this house.
What? Divorce? What are you talking about?
Yeah, after all the support he has given you, how dare you say something so ungrateful? I appreciate everything you've done for me, but I'm done being your puppet.
If that's how you feel, then get out of this house right now.
And don't you ever set foot in this house again. Fine, I'll do just that. I grabbed the bags I had packed a few days earlier and headed for the front door without hesitation. The two of them kept spewing insults, unhappy with how calmly I was acting.
There's no way a housewife like you can survive with a kid on your own.
Yeah, and your family's far away. If you get on your knees and apologize right now, we might forgive you. No thanks. Consider me a stranger from now on. Ignoring their hysterical shouting, I left the house. I stopped in front of a house and rang the doorbell. A man and a woman, the residents, greeted me with smiles. Ayaka, good to see you. Sorry for barging in like this, Kana. Don't worry about it at all.
You had a tough time. Coming quickly.
Thanks, Yuki. Yuki, Shuji's younger brother, and his wife, Kana. They had been my confidants about Shuji and mother-in-law. They were outraged by Shuji and mother-in-law's treatment of me and suggested I file for divorce and come stay with them.
I heard about it, but it's worse than I thought.
Our mother-in-law saying you should give up the baby is unacceptable. And Shuji's siding with her? Unbelievable. What are they thinking?
It's always been like that. Mom's always cared most about Shuji. Everyone else doesn't matter to her.
It seems my mother-in-law's obsession with Shuji started when he was a kid. In contrast, she was indifferent to Yuki, creating a noticeable difference in how she treated her sons, causing Yuki a lot of hardship. The days of being mistreated by Shuji and my mother-in-law were lonely, but Yuki and Kana's support has made me feel a bit better.
Ayaka, what are you going to do now?
I'm going to look for a job. If I'm going to raise a child, I need a stable income. Hearing this, Yuki smiled warmly and made a suggestion.
In that case, how about coming back to work at our company?
What?
We'd be happy to have you back, Ayaka.
I used to work at the company run by Yuki and Shuji's dad. Their dad passed away a few years ago. Although Shuji was supposed to become the next president, Yuki ended up taking the role due to mother-in-law's influence. There's no way Shuji should become the next president. I've seen how hard his dad worked, sacrificing sleep for the job. I don't want my dear Shuji to go through that.
But Mom, passing up the chance to be president.
Don't be silly. Let Yuki handle the tough stuff. It's better for Shuji to have a relaxed role than to be overworked as a president.
I guess you are right. You are so smart, Mom.
Do you see? So Yuki, you'll take over the company.
Yes, I'm fine with that.
I was speechless at how selfish Shuji and my mother-in-law were when I heard what they said to Yuki. Yuki, thank you so much. But even though I had quit, I was grateful for Yuki's offer to come back. But thinking about returning to the same company where Shuji worked made me hesitate. Sensing my hesitation, Yuki smiled.
If you don't want to see my brother, don't worry. I have a plan.
What? A few days later, I started working at Yuki's company again. I was nervous about the years I'd spent as a housewife, but my colleagues and supervisors were kind and I slowly got back into the swing of things. However, there were two people who weren't happy about my return.
What's going on? Why did you hire Ayaka?
Yeah, hiring the ex-wife who left us is outrageous. Yuki seemed prepared for their outburst and listened calmly.
Fire her immediately. You don't have the authority to fire another employee. What?
What did you say? How dare you talk back to your older brother? Just obey Shuji's orders.
Yeah, don't you dare disrespect me.
Yuki sighed deeply as he watched the two of them hysterically yelling.
If you are so insistent, then there's no other way. Shuji, you are fired, effective immediately. What?
That's ridiculous.
We've had numerous complaints about your poor work attitude from many employees. What? Compared to you, Ayaka is a diligent worker and has the trust of the employees. Even after she left, we are still grateful for her contributions. So of course, I want to help her if she's in trouble.
What are you talking about? hiring a stranger and firing your own brother. That's outrageous.
Yeah, stop mixing personal feelings with business. As the president, I have to say that it's clear which employee is more valuable to the company. Keeping someone who slacks off and causes problems just because they are family is far more of a personal bias. Oh, and by the way, the accounting department mentioned that we are missing several $1,000. Shuji, do you know anything about that?
Yuki's question visibly rattled Shuji.
Huh? What? How would I know anything about that? Are you accusing me? Do you have any proof?
He's practically admitting it without being asked.
Well, if you don't know, we'll have to consult the police. The police?
Shuji was silent for a while, but then he started to confess, realizing he had no way out.
Sure, maybe I took a little money from the company, but losing a few $1,000 isn't going to hurt it, right? What? If this is your company, then the money belongs to our family. Think of it as giving me an allowance. Cut the crap! Eek! What you're doing is a crime. You are definitely fired, and I'll be reporting the embezzlement to the police. No way!
Wait, Shuji is really sorry. We're family. You have to forgive him.
Mom, how long are you going to baby your grown son? You've never treated me like a family. But now you want to play the family card? That's just hypocritical.
Then, my mother-in-law made a shocking proposal. If that's the case, Ayaka should pay back the money Shuji took. Then there's no need to involve the police, right? What? Is she serious? After everything they've done to me, how can she say something so ridiculous? No way. What? I told you when I left the house that you can consider me a stranger from now on. Why should I pay back the money someone else embezzled? A stranger. This outcome is all your own doing. You need to face the consequences.
No way.
I will never forgive you for the terrible things you've done to me and for trying to take the life of my unborn child. Don't ever contact me again. Shuji and my mother-in-law finally realized their situation, slumped down, and said nothing more. Later, Shuji was convicted of embezzling company funds and sentenced to prison.
This wasn't supposed to happen. It wasn't supposed to be like this.
He lost his social standing and credibility, causing him to lose weight and age rapidly. My mother-in-law, devastated by Shuji's arrest and the news coverage of the embezzlement, became an outcast in the neighborhood. Look, isn't that her? The one whose son was arrested. Yeah, it must be awful to live near someone like that. Unable to bear the shame, she now lives alone with curtains drawn, rarely leaving the house. And as for me, Yuki and Kana suggested I stay with them for a while, concerned about my health during the pregnancy. I'm sorry for the trouble. I'll move out as soon as my income stabilizes. What are you talking about? You can stay as long as you need to.
Yeah, it would be terrible if anything happened while you were living alone. Don't worry about being a burden.
Yuki, Kana, thank you so much. I eventually gave birth to a healthy baby girl. I can't count the number of times I've been helped by the kindness of those around me, but I vow to live my life to the fullest to repay their kindness.